A girl of wider thoughts and wiser mind. An author with customized content who enroots her entrepreneurship journey from her school.
Let's welcome our speaker of the day, Miss Khandker Khadeejah, who travelled from Guntur to share her story on the title Neither Here Nor There.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Miss Khandker Khadeejah to the dais. The stage is all yours, ma'am.
Thank you for that really nice introduction. Makkangle enna solvanga. Janal em anukuntaru? Log kya kahenge? What will people say? Ladies and gentlemen, a good afternoon to you. I am Khadeejah, and I want to ask one question to all of you here in the room. Please participate. I want to ask you, who of you all have had this phrase told to them? What will people say? Anyone? Really? Okay, hands are shooting up slowly. So this phrase, I'm sorry to say, in a room full of mostly women, most of all, or maybe all of them, have had this phrase stump them at some phase of their life. I, for one, have personally had this phrase thrown at me a lot. And for reasons, because I was that one girl that was different. That one girl that was weird, and that one girl that broke normality. Let me start where all great stories begin, the beginning. I come from a home where it is built on a marriage of two nations, two cultures, two religions. My father happened to be a really handsome young man from Bangladesh, and my mom, a hardworking, beautiful nurse in Vellore, Tamil Nadu. That's how I'm a Tamilian. So it was a sweet love story, yada yada yada, you get it. But this is my story, so let's circle back to Khandker Khadeejah Umme Habiba Hassan. Yes, that's all my name. She was born into a family of 5. Now, as I was telling you, I'm a Muslim, but also Christian. I was a Tamilian, but also...
Sorry for that inconvenience. This is a lot more comfortable. So as I was saying, so there I was, a Muslim, but also a Christian. A Tamilian, but also a Bengali. And most importantly, stuck between these two nations. When you come from a primarily Muslim household with 2 elder sisters, you're taught to be modest. You always have the safetyness of overprotectiveness. I remember my father could not bear the sight of me crying when I first went to school. So what he did, he just kept me back home. He kept me back home and said, you don't need to go to school. And a series of unfortunate events unfolded, and both of my elder sisters had to also stop their education, stay back home, and take care of me. In fact, they were the ones that first taught me how to read, how to write, and for that, I'll forever be indebted to my elder sisters, Fatima and Amina, for their sacrifice of their time and to help me. Now, as I was telling you, I was a Tamil Bengali, right? So, I was this one girl that spoke English. And the reason was because that was a common language that was spoken in my house, because my dad and my mom would converse in English, and that was the first language I picked up. Now, while I was staying at home, 2 years had passed by, and finally this one day my mom came home and turned the home upside down. She's like, you have to let the girls go to school. You have to let go of them. She was saying this to my father. And then I got put into 2nd grade directly into Little Flower School, and I did my 9 years of schooling there, graduated with an ICSE board with excellent marks, scoring best in English. Ironically though, when I did start off, when I joined school, that was the one subject I was absolutely garbage at. The reason was because I was fluent with speaking, but was unable to write. I was so far behind my peers, it was laughable. So I just pushed hard, and I pushed hard enough to be able to write and read well, because that was the one thing that my father also loved doing, and I felt connected with him doing that. I even feel connected with him now after him passing away 8 years now when I was 12. So that was another reason why I wanted to become self-sufficient by the time I was 17, and I did that, in fact, through writing. Now I'm going off on all these tangents and stuff, but you still don't know who I am, what I do. So here's what I do. I put words onto paper that fit just right. I write for those who can't. I bring visions to life so powerful, only spines of books can carry. I am a writer, a content writer, editor, proofreader, ghostwriter, freelancer, name it, it's all in there. I've worked, but I mean, before I go on to how I have gotten there, this question might pop into your head, how? It all began in 2020, the year of the lockdown and everything else. So in 2020, I was fresh out of 12th, and I had no clue of what I was doing or what I was going to do. I studied commerce in this ground floor of a parking lot of a building that my management deemed to call a college, and I passed exceedingly well with marks. But I made a promise to myself that next college I go to, it has to be better than this one. Hey, as long as it's not a parking lot, I'm fine. So that's what I did. And I just did the same thing what everyone would normally do. I went onto the internet and I typed top BBA colleges in India. And I applied, got through a round of interviews, another round of interviews, and then I basically got in. But then I had this one lady in the interview that asked me a question that didn't quite sit right with me. She asked me, Khadeejah, so there's this rule that our college has that girls are only supposed to wear traditionals in college. What do you think of that? She didn't ask me about my likes, dislikes, what I like to study, my talents, nothing. She asked me this question for an interview to a college where I might supposedly be studying 3 years of my life. And so I just answered her something, so I bit my teeth, answered her something that would pacify her. And I think she quite liked the answer because she replied with a peppy, condescending tone, exactly, beta, women should dress modestly, otherwise what will people say? And I think you all know how I feel about that response now. I got so irritated, I scrapped the entire offer of admissions and I was like, I'm just going to go into another college, I don't know what. And I spent time thinking, what was I really doing? What did I actually want to do? Did I want to go on this usual route of BBA and business management, or did I want to do something different? Then I spent quite a lot of time thinking on what I wanted to do. And then I realized I want to study psychology. Like one of the ma'am here told that she wanted to study criminal psychology. She's here, yes. Etiraj, I had also applied there, but the problem was I'd already become too late. So I knew that I wanted to study human behavior, human mind. I wanted to remove the stigma of mental health in India. And I was so hit hard by this epiphany that without thinking about the where, what, when, I went to my mom and I told her. My mom got so pissed and she said, "Idu enna solra? Time aichu," which loosely translates to, what the hell are you saying? Time's getting over. But she was right, admissions got over by that time. So again, without thinking of the why, how and what, I told her, Ma, I'm taking a gap year. This flipped my mom completely. She was like, what are you doing? What will people say? Your career's gonna get ruined. You're such a good student. And while all of these are valid questions, I knew that I had made my mind up that I would rather take my time and get into a much better college. And so I just took a hiatus. Now that's what I called my gap year instead of calling it a gap year. That's because I do not know if you know, it has a really bad image problem in the society. So I took my hiatus and I planned that I want to do something with it. But soon I found that I was in the middle of my 12th and my college. I was in the middle of nowhere. And this middle started making me scared sooner or later. It felt like the walls were closing in and I was feeling scared. But then all throughout, my mom's trust and support in me kept me focused on my path. So I made a promise to myself again. I said, I'm going to make the most out of this hiatus than anyone else and I'm going to shock everyone, and so I did. I cannot go on without mentioning my beloved friend Sanjay Lunia. So I've been friends with this guy since my 2nd grade, and this one day during lockdown, he randomly called me up and he says, "Hey Khadeejah, do you want to start a publishing house?" And I'm like, okay, I guess, because I've always been a friend to him and supported him with all his tomfoolery. So I thought, why not once more? So that's how the birth of Endgame Publishing House began. You can look it up, it's on Google. We've been running for 3 years now, and that's where I first got some of my few clients, and I worked with so many people there. In the beginning, I would work for hours on end, sometimes into the night, and not even missing meals and just not even spending time with my friends because I was so engrossed into it. I've always wanted to become an author, and I thought this was a fantastic entry into the industry. And along the way, I also started a blog called In the Belly of the Book, where I'm trying to raise a community of avid readers where I post reviews on the books that I've read. Now, when I started working, I was not paid anything for the first 2 months because it was just a startup. And then eventually I started getting paid $500 per month. And that might not seem a lot right now for the people in the room right now. But then back then, when I saved all that up and I gifted my mom a blue sari and a Bible, the tears in her eyes and the smile on her face made it totally worth it. Today, I'm earning a 5-figure income, close to 6, and I've been networking with clients and companies all around the world. All of this I've achieved by the time I'm 20. Starting from, thank you, you're all too sweet. Starting from 17. Now, as I did this, 2 years, like a year passed by during lockdown and time of admissions came through. And then I forgot that, oh my God, I didn't apply. And so I searched up a college, saw that it was the last day to apply, and applied to only that college, knowing in my heart that that was going to be it. And I slept with peace at night. Today, I'm happy to tell you that I'm a student of psychology in my second year at Kriya University. And it's such a good university where I actually enjoy my time. And I room with Meghna Mantha, who's there. Can you wave your hand? That's Meghna. And I've come here with her. She's also a speaker. You'll be listening to her story. It's very cool. So I would like to tell you that we also started a venture recently, which is called CloudNet Studio, which takes up most of our room space, honestly, with yarn and other materials as such. So whenever I find time between classes, I work, I freelance, and I crochet, she knits. Other than that, I've always had all of these things that I do, extracurriculars, in between, in the middle, in the center, betwixt. And my friends always ask me this one question, Khadeejah, my God, how do you have the time to do all this? And I just tell them, in the middle. And in this middle lies an uncertainty and uncomfortableness and a daunting feeling because there's not many there. There's always on extreme ends. You'll always have to learn to be comfortable with this middle. Because I, for one, have always been in this middle. I've been between nations, cultures, academic years, middle of everything. I've never got to be part of a group. And this middle has what has made me comfortable now. The one difference that you tell yourself that you feel weird about today, I assure you, you will hold your head up high and stand out for. In between all of this, I found friends that I can call family. I found remote lands comfortable enough to call it home. And in between all this, I keep doing gigs and interesting things. In fact, right now I'm writing a biography for a really huge man who I cannot name because contracts. And I work with NIFT Companies, Metaverse Companies, and so much more that if I keep listing, the bell is going to go ding, and I don't want that to happen. And apart from that, I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're afraid of just being this one thing, do not. Break the boundary. Go ahead. Be dead center in the middle. Go ahead. Experiment with yourself. And you do not have to be in the middle and get stumped by this phrase of what will people think. Because people are going to think either way. Might as well give them something great to think about. So I am going to leave you with this thought that keep paving your own path in the middle and keep heading on. It has been great to share this platform with all you wonderful women. You've been a great audience. I would also like to thank Bala sir, who I don't think is here right now, but I thank the entire crew. You guys have been great, and you've been a great audience. Thank you.